Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker still having to take questions about whether he is being vetted to be Vice President Kamala Harris's VP pick for the new Democratic ticket. But is he really making things more clear? Welcome back, Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell each and every weekday morning, waking you up here with America's Talking Network and the Center Square to give you what you need to know to start your day. Of course, we've been talking about whether or not Pritzker has been being vetted. He was, of course, quick to join other Democrats in endorsing Kamala Harris, and that was after President Joe Biden announced that he was not going to be the party's pick for the November election. So clearly that is something I think is interesting in how this is all played out, especially with the governor essentially saying that you've got the issue of who's going to beat Donald Trump. And that's why Biden says he stepped down for the good of the country and democracy, and then the Democrats falling into line and supporting Kamala Harris. But we still don't know who the VP is going to be. And a long list of potential candidates. Pritzker's been on that list since the get-go, and he's had to be asked questions for more than 2 years, frankly, about whether or not he has aspirations for higher office. So again, Tuesday, he was asked by MSNBC if he received vetting materials. He said no. Wednesday on CNN, he said he's not going to share private conversations he's had with individuals at the Harris campaign. And that raised questions as to whether he is or is not in conversations about this. The governor had 2 events yesterday. We're actually going to look more detail into the first event of the Secret Service, FBI, Chicago law enforcement, talking about the security for the Democratic National Convention. So we'll touch on that here in a bit. But the governor was asked during that event separately about whether or not he has had communications. He seems to try to work to clarify what has been reported on for the past week. And here's the governor on Thursday discussing this with members of the media in Chicago yesterday.
The Harris campaign did not call me yesterday. I have had a number of conversations with people I do regularly with the campaign. And as you know, I've been traveling the country to promote the Biden-Harris ticket and now, of course, the Harris led ticket rather, and so that's what's been going on over the last few days. And as I say, I don't want to talk about any private conversations I've had, but I will say that I have said directly to the vice president that I'm going to do everything and anything that is necessary to make sure that we beat Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, who, like me, doesn't use periods between the. Sorry, some of you will get that. And to make sure that we're communicating across the country the message of hope that comes from a Harris candidacy and her victory in November.
Thank you. And on the vetting materials issue?
Yeah, as I said, I'm not going to talk about any conversations that we've had. I haven't talked to the campaign the way you've described. Just spoke with Vice President Harris.
So again, the governor's being asked, what about having received campaign vetting materials? He says, no, I'm just answering your question. I didn't talk to the campaign yesterday, but I did talk to Vice President Kamala Harris. Well, that sparked even more questions as to, well, wait a second. Have you or have you not talked to who, and who have you not talked to about what? Are you interested?
I think all of you have heard me say that I really have been honored to have been elected twice as governor of the state of Illinois. I really enjoy the work, sometimes very challenging, but always the opportunity to serve the 13 million people of our state. And so, there's not much that would pull me away from that job.
All right. You said 2 things. You said you haven't talked to them, and then you did talk to her. So which one is it?
So that question there was, you said 2 things. You haven't talked to them, but you have talked to her. So which is it?
Sorry, I think the question was, had I spoken with them in the last day? Did I get a call? And the answer is no.
I didn't mean this. Yeah. Have you spoken to the Harris campaign?
Well, sure. I don't know anybody who's involved in Democratic politics that isn't talking to the Harris campaign, if you have the opportunity to. So that's the answer. I mean, I'm, as you know, I know people who work on the campaign, and I'm involved in transmitting the message of the campaign. So excited about the next 100 days.
And then the governor's asked a direct question. It's a little difficult to hear, so I'll reiterate it here as it comes through. Have you been contacted to be vice president?
Again, I'm not going to talk about that. I can tell you that I'm going to campaign. Whatever happens in this process that I understand is going on, my job is to make sure that we win in November. So I'm going to work hard to do that, as I have for, the last year and a half of this campaign.
So did he clarify things? Again, that was some of the Q&A from his first event yesterday, which was a joint news conference about security around the Democratic National Convention. So clearly there's more to be said about that issue. But the question of, is he being vetted for VP? The series of interviews he's had, of course, Tuesday MSNBC, national footprint. Wednesday CNN, national footprint. Thursday, he's back in Illinois talking to local media. At the second event, which was about quantum and investing in quantum, with an announcement up in the Chicagoland area for PsiQuantum to have a new facility. We'll talk about that as well briefly. But here's the governor after that event fielding some questions, and in particular, this one from the Chicago Tribune.
Why has it taken you 4 days to talk to the Illinois media since President Biden dropped out of the presidential race, and while you've since been on MSNBC, CNN, CBS, those national news networks? What are you auditioning for?
No, not avoiding anybody. We, by the way, have a little bit of travel going on. We put out a number of statements, not avoiding anybody. Happy to be here talking to you. As you know, I had another press conference earlier today. So what would you like to know, Jeremy?
So again, Jeremy Gorner, the Chicago Tribune reporter there, asking the question. And this feed is from the state, and there's some interesting cuts there. I'm still trying to get to the bottom of why there seems to be 4 or 5 cuts in the Q&A there. But regardless, at the tail end, Gorner got another question in about, this issue of whether or not Pritzker's looking to be the VP.
Thank you. I'm not here for tryouts. What I am here to do is, if you ask a question like that, my response is, I really believe that what we need in this country is leadership that brings character, honesty, integrity. That's what Joe Biden brought to the job. I believe Kamala Harris will bring that to the job too. And that's what I think is very important for the future of the country. People who think selflessly about what's best for the American people. Thank you.
There you go. The latest comments from Governor J.B. Pritzker as to whether or not he is vying to be the vice presidential candidate for the Democrat ticket as we head into the weekend. Could there be an announcement before the beginning of August, leading into the August 19th Democratic National Convention up in Chicago? The Center Square will be on the ground, so be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll give you live updates every morning of the convention and keep you posted. But you can also subscribe to the Illinois in Focus podcast anywhere you're at, so you don't miss it anytime. But also subscribe to the newsletter at thecentersquare.com. I'm Greg Bishop. Follow me anywhere. Bishop on Air. It is Illinois in Focus Daily.